Right, I got disconnected for no reason and then it wouldn't reconnect. Pretty good. Very usual. Very enjoyable for all of us. Never mind. Because I think we're about to get to an exciting bit, so might as well have a new video. I think I said something about losing connection like right before I did. So I'm going to try not to do that again in case it's a jinx of some kind. And while we wait, have a few sips of the old still spring water. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I did. I thought I did. And I looked at it and I thought, you're fucking kidding me. This computer thinks it's funny. I think Mimi trained it to be funny before she gave it to me. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was what I said. Okay, well, Frankenstein Chapter 4, the continuation of the part of it that this is. It was with these feelings, hubris, that I began the creation of a human being. As the minuteness of the parts formed a great hindrance to my speed, I resolved, contrary to my first intention, to make the being of a gigantic stature, that is to say, about 8 feet in height and proportionately large. Having formed this determination, and having spent some months in successfully collecting and arranging my materials, I began. I mean, I feel like making it 8 foot tall and huge was kind of a rookie error, but I think Victor's like 19 at this point. He went to university at 17. He spent 2 years learning how to make Frankensteins, and yeah, he's 19. I'm going to make him 8 foot tall and huge. He's going to be amazing. He's going to turn into a car. No one can conceive the variety of feelings which bore me onwards, like a hurricane in the first enthusiasm of success. Life and death appeared to me ideal bounds, which I should first break through and pour a torrent of light into our dark world. A new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. No father could claim the gratitude of his child so completely as I should deserve theirs. Pursuing these reflections, I thought that if I could bestow animation upon lifeless matter, I might, in the process of time, although I now found it impossible, renew life, where death had apparently devoted the body to corruption. These thoughts supported my spirits while I pursued my undertaking with unremitting ardour. My cheek had grown pale with study, and my person had become emaciated with confinement. Sometimes on the very brink of certainty I failed, yet still I clung to the hope which the next day or the next hour might realize. One secret which I alone possessed was the hope to which I dedicated myself, and the moon gazed upon my midnight labours while, with unrelaxed and breathless eagerness, I pursued nature to her hiding places. Who shall conceive the horrors of my secret toil, as I dabbled among the unhallowed damps of the grave, or tortured the living animal to animate the lifeless clay? My limbs now tremble, and my eyes swim with the remembrance, but then a resistless and almost frantic impulse urged me forward. I seemed to have lost all soul or sensation but for this one pursuit. There was indeed but a passing trance that only made me feel with renewed acuteness so soon as, the unnatural stimulus ceasing to operate, I had returned to my old habits. I collected bones from charnel houses, and disturbed with profane fingers the tremendous secrets of the human frame. In a solitary chamber, or rather cell, at the top of the house, and separated from all the other apartments by a gallery and staircase, I kept my workshop of filthy creation. My eyeballs were starting from their sockets and attending to the details of my employment. The dissecting room and the slaughterhouse furnished many of my materials, and often did my human nature turn with loathing from my occupation, while, still urged on by an eagerness which perpetually increased, I brought my work nearer to a conclusion. So he's a poster. He feels like a poster, you know. I mean, his human side's kind of disgusted, but the rest of him's like, oh, 3 a.m., well, you know. Summer months passed while I was thus engaged, heart and soul, in one pursuit. It was a most beautiful season. Never did the fields bestow a more plentiful harvest, or the vines yield a more luxuriant vintage. But my eyes were insensible to the charms of nature. And the same feelings which made me neglect the scenes around me caused me also to forget those friends who were so many miles absent, and whom I had not seen for so long a time. I knew my silence disquieted them, and I well remembered the words of my father. I know that while you are pleased with yourself, you will think of us with affection, and we shall hear regularly from you. You must pardon me if I regard any interruption in your correspondence as a proof that your other duties are equally neglected. Victor, if you're grave Robin, I'll know. I'll know because you'll stop writing letters, Victor. Father knows. Poor Henry Clerval, though. His boyfriend went off to university and then didn't write to him for 2 years. He's just going to write to him and say, fell asleep, lol. I knew well, therefore, what would be my father's feelings, but I could not tear my thoughts from my employment, loathsome in itself, but which had taken an irresistible hold of my imagination. I wished, as it were, to procrastinate all that related to my feelings of affection until the great object, which swallowed up every habit of my nature, should be completed. Always write your da, otherwise he will know. He'll know you've been making Frankensteins. I then thought that my father would be unjust if he ascribed my neglect to vice or faultiness on my part, but I am now convinced that he was justified in conceiving that I should not be altogether free from blame. A human being in perfection ought always to preserve a calm and peaceful mind, and never to allow passion or a transitory desire to disturb his tranquillity. I do not think that the pursuit of knowledge is an exception to this rule. If the study to which you apply yourself has a tendency to weaken your affections and to destroy your taste for those simple pleasures in which no alloy can possibly mix, then that study is certainly unlawful. That is to say, not befitting the human mind. If this rule were always observed, if no man allowed any pursuit whatsoever to interfere with the tranquillity of his domestic affections, Greece had not been enslaved, Caesar would have spared his country, America would have been discovered more gradually, and the empires of Mexico and Peru had not been destroyed. It it does say right here, America would have been discovered more gradually. Discovered is a nice word. Not sure it's accurate, but I forget that I am moralizing in the most interesting part of my tale, and your looks remind me to proceed. My father made no reproach in his letters, and only took notice of my silence by inquiring into my occupations more particularly than before. Winter, spring, and summer passed away during my labours, but I did not watch the blossom or the expanding leaves, sights which before always yielded me supreme delight. So deeply was I engrossed in my occupation. The leaves of that year had withered before my work drew near to a close, and now every day showed me more plainly how well I had succeeded. But my enthusiasm was checked by my anxiety, and I appeared rather like one doomed by slavery to toil in the mines, or any other unwholesome trade than an artist occupied by his favourite employment. Every night I was oppressed by a slow fever, and I became nervous to a most painful degree. The fall of a leaf startled me, and I shunned my fellow creatures as if I had been guilty of a crime. Sometimes I grew alarmed at the wreck I perceived that I had become. The energy of my purpose alone sustained me. My labours would soon end, and I believed that exercise and amusement would then drive away incipient disease, and I promised myself both of these when my creation should be complete. Well, I don't know. I think that thinking that America maybe could have been discovered a bit more gradually was probably the wokest thing to think at the time. I mean, she wasn't American. She never even, well, she may have gone there. I don't know. I can't remember. Can't remember back that far. The history of it, you know what I mean. But that was the end of chapter 4. So I think that chapter 5 is going to be extremely exciting. So I think we will have to this sounds like a poster. You know you're absorbed in this unholy occupation, but it's just what you were meant to do. Oh, good lord. Great monster. Go to gym. Go to fair. Yeah. Yeah. Watch, Punch and Judy show. God, that movie we watched. We sat down and, like, I was in your ear the whole movie, wasn't I? Going like, what the fuck is this? That never happened to Mary Shelley. Why are they doing this? I'm pretty sure. I think I was very annoying. But people learn eventually to never go to historical dramas with me. It's not worth it. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm sorry that it was half an hour late today. I wasn't sure I could actually do it. But I did. We did, even though the stream went down briefly. So yeah, thank you all very much. And I will see you, I hope, at 6:30 tomorrow. 6:30 New Zealand time. It's 8 p.m. now. Thank you, Pan and Scan. Oh no, the best part of the movie, do you remember? It was that it kept beginning. It kept going like, with the help of the Movies of Ireland. And with thanks from the Foundation for Making a Movie. And produced by this guy. Like, it just kept beginning. And we started laughing every time it began again. And I think the old ladies in the theatre got really pissed off. But it was a really good running gag. It was so funny. Yeah. So I'll see you tomorrow. I know. They just kept going. I thought we were in, like, some kind of experimental Tim and Eric style movie without being told, where it would just keep opening. But, yeah. Tomorrow, The Creature. The day after that, it's my cousin's birthday. He's going to be like 10 or 15 or probably something between them. Stay safe. Wash your hands. I'm a doctor. And don't make a Frankenstein. Bye.